Thank you so much for being here. Thank you especially to the new members, to Park Meadows Country Club. Got 150, I think, here this afternoon. Not only that, but we're Zooming this to folks outside, and of course we're making a recording, so those that haven't been able to be here will get a chance later. So this is the members meeting that we have every year, and the agenda is pretty good. Hopefully you either had a chance to read the material that came out this morning, or if not, follow along with me. But it's pretty standard. We're going to cross through all the different areas of the club, looking at 23, 24, and of course we'll have time for Q&A at the end, which is often the most important thing. So I want to start off by just talking a little bit about a couple of personal things. First is the appreciation for Park Meadows. You know, sometimes we all forget how wonderful this place is. We're in the middle of the mountains. We have a beautiful golf course. We now have a ski resort out here. We have a wonderful arrangement with the chateau, the residences for skiing up at Deer Valley. We have a fabulous pool. We have pickleball courts. We just have a wonderful setting here. We have a great dining room. And sometimes we all tend to forget about that. So I just want you to think on a personal level of how great it is to be here and how lucky we are to be part of Park Meadows Country Club. And I have to say that on another note, I was looking at the Monopoly board. Have you any of you played the Monopoly board yet? No. Well, you know what? In there are a couple of places that we frequent, and I didn't even mind losing rent of $200 to the No Name Saloon. Anyway, we do appreciate everybody. We also want to say thank you to the people that help us take what we've got here and make it into a vibrant, exciting community with a lot of camaraderie. And the first person I'd like to thank is our general manager. Where's Mike, please? Here he is. Stand up. So we have a special announcement tonight. No, he's not leaving. We, over the last few months, have been talking about a contract, and we have not only agreed, but we have signed a 5-year contract for Mike to be with us here at Park Meadows Country Club. And we all know what a great job he's done in the last 15 months, and so we know it's going to be an excellent next 5 years. It is renewable and extendable, so we hope it will actually be longer than that, but at least for now, good job, Mike. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. I'd also now like to thank the staff. I know Mike will do a much more detailed job later on, but it doesn't matter whether you are part of the crew looking after the Nordic track, whether you're in the back of the house, in the kitchen, preparing wonderful food that we have here, in the front of the house, delivering it, whether you're looking after the lockers, whether you are in our administrative block, being the membership or finance directors, and of course, out on the golf course, which we will talk later about John, but John Haynes has kept in a phenomenal job for the last 20 years. Let's hear that. That was a good one. So thank you to you all. You really have done a great job, and you do that every day to help us enjoy these facilities. The third group I'd like to thank is the board of directors. We've added one director this year, that's Rick Shand, and I would like all the directors to stand up and be recognized, please. They do a great job, and if they do well tonight, I've agreed to double their salary next month. Anyway, also, in addition to the directors, we have so many wonderful volunteers here, and I want to thank them. We have, 8 committees of the board, all of which have 6 or 7 people on them. We have a very, very good group. We always have done. These are people who put a lot of time and effort into the club, and we say thank you to them, as well as the golf volunteers, the people who are helping with everything at this golf club. And I particularly like to shout out for PMLA. This year the PMLA are really getting together to increase the involvement of a lot of the ladies in the club, and not just in the golf area. So thank you very much to them. Thank you to all the volunteers who help here, whether it's mahjong, whether it's bridge, pickleball, anything like that. Thank you so much for your good work. And there's 2 final groups I'd like to thank. One are the past presidents. And will the past presidents that are in the room please stand up? I know there are at least a couple, 3, 4. Yes. We now have the facilities, but it was this group of folks that put them all together, from bringing in market-based pricing, negotiating debt, doing the first renovation of this wonderful building, and putting the pool together. Not physically, but an incredible amount of time was spent doing that. I do know that. Overall, just a wonderful group of people who've spent a lot of time over the last 20 years looking after this club, and we thank you very much indeed. And finally, the members. You make this place. Your camaraderie is wonderful. You bring the friendship, the good relationships that we all have, and I thank, and everybody should thank everybody else for being wonderful, wonderful members of this country club. This may not be church on a Sunday morning, but thank you very much anyway. Okay, I'd like to move on now to talk about some of the things that have been going on. Quickly, summary of 2023. We started 2023, as you well know, with some continued labor shortages and issues around supply chain. I think we've ended up a much better club having gone through that than having, if we had not gone through it. It was tough at the time, but people right the way throughout, particularly the F&B services, had a tough time getting good servers to come along and work with us. But we did it, and thanks to them, we're in much, much better shape. And Mike will talk a lot more about the whole F&B area during the operations report later. We didn't have as many new members come in this year. The prior year, 2022, we'd had 34 social and golf memberships. Last year we had 11, but we welcome everybody. We put in place some additional work with the Realtor Group in Park City, and we hope that will pay off. But basically, with a reduction in the market-based pricing, we're having a lot more interest now during 2024. So fundamentally, things are getting back on track, and we welcome every new member that's here. We'll talk about the capital milestones a little later in one of the other sections. But we've also had great golf events, which Steve will talk about, and other sporting events, pickleball, for example, a lot of swimming going on. And so, again, a very successful year out there. What about the 40th anniversary party? Hey, what about that? Woo! Thanks to all the social organizers for the many, many great events we had, either attached to sports events or to just events on their own last year. Talking about the 40th party, it was actually so successful last year. Lots of people said, let's do something again this year. So we're looking at doing a lower key event, but something to get everybody, dancing around and having a great time again. Financial strength. You know that we, over the years, have had some tough times here at Park Meadows. I want to make a call out to John Debbie, where's Debbie? Here she is, Debbie Lambert, and the whole of the Finance Committee for doing a phenomenal job in pulling together in the last year or so the whole financial plans, making it more easy to understand, making some changes, and generally looking longer term, and which Debbie will go through a lot of that in her piece a bit later. But you know, we also had that windfall from the sort of COVID memberships, and we've been able to use that to do a lot of capital work, which again we'll talk later, but you know what it is, the bunkers, the refurb here, the parking lot, and we've been able to do that without having an assessment on the members. So a lot of financial strength, and we'll talk more about that later. And overall, the communications and member interaction has been fantastic. I think congratulations to Mike and Michael and the whole team in doing a really good job on the communication side, and we will talk again about that a bit more later. Looking at 2024 as an overview, we are continue, obviously, very strongly to support the general manager and the staff, whether that's through mentorship, training. Mike's putting in place a lot of standard operating procedures with his directors so that we can make sure that even if we have turnover in staff, you know, we will move the same practices from one to the next. One of the big things that you're going to hear this year, and when I've spoken to each of the board committees, we've talked about this, is getting the details right. We need to concentrate on a few things. Golf carts should go out with the right sand, they should be clean. Everything that's happening, you know, in the F&B area, of course, all the details, servers coming to talk to you as soon as you arrive just to say hello. And just generally getting the details right in the cart barn and all over the whole area of Park Meadows Country Club. So that's something that we're going to work on pretty hard this year. If you think there's some issues that aren't being addressed, please use Plugged In. Plugged In gets looked at and responded to by Mike, but the whole executive committee, and in certain cases the whole board, get to view the emails. Continue the high quality food and service improvements. I feel in the last 18 months we've really made some good strides in that area, increased the number of people that are serving, and we want to continue to do that. Sports and social events, well, again, we'll talk about a little bit later, as we will the capital project plan. We don't have such a large project plan for 2024 as we had in 2023, but we will go through that a little bit later. As you well know, we are very fortunate to have an agreement with the residences at the Chateau. We'll give you all the numbers a little later, but that agreement comes up for renewal in November 2025, and we want to make sure we're able to have a on-presence facility on the mountain at Deer Valley. So we will be working later this year with them and others to see how that shakes out for next year. And overall, from a communications perspective, we felt we needed to improve our service in answering the phones. As you know, Loa's been at the front desk pretty much the last 6 months or so, and I think everybody seems to agree that that has been a very good move. And later on, Mike will talk to you about the ideas to replace the existing reservation system under the name Cobalt, which you've probably seen in your packages. So that's sort of a summary of 23 and 24. I also wanted to talk a little longer term before we go into some of the details. We spent about 18 months as a board in sort of some focus groups, general discussions, committee discussions, working on a strategic plan, which most of you will recall we issued at the beginning of last year. And we were very happy with the way it turned out. We're very happy with the work that's been going on along the way in the last 18 months. But we wanted to have a quick check, and so Wendy Clark, our vice president, and the committee members spent the last numbers of months looking at the strategic plan, and are pleased to report that not only does the board believe that we're in good shape, we probably don't need to change too many things looking forward. I just did, however, even though it's on the website, want to remind you of our top 6 strategic objectives for the plan. We want a strong, sustainable financial system. We're working on that very, very well indeed. We want a top-notch golf course from a development perspective and maintenance perspective, and that will come into one of the projects we're going to talk about later. We want to have the best country club dining experience in the Park City area. We want strong junior, family, and social programs. We're probably not quite there yet on the junior side, but we're working hard to improve that every week. Keeping our operating excellence, that's back to getting the details right. Social culture and camaraderie is so important in this club. We all love each other and spend time with each other, and I think that's one of the key tenets of being here at Park Meadows Country Club. And of course, we want to recruit, retain, and train the management and the staff to make sure we got an absolute A+ group, which we know we have right now. So those are the top 6 objectives of the strategic plan. So that's the overview from myself. Unfortunately, Bob Schaefer's not able to be here today to talk about the capital plans, so Mike and I are going to tag team on that, and Mike's going to start off with a recap of 2023.
Okay, look at this turnout. Thank you everyone for coming out and supporting us with this meeting. So just do a 2023 recap of all of the capital projects that took place. So bunkers, look at that picture. I guess we should have put an old versus new, because they came out fantastic. We did come in under budget with the bunker project, thanks to John Haynes and his team helping just the process along and being able to do some of the work on their own. So the bunker project is completely done, and inclusive of that, we did complete the driving range bunkers as well. So if you haven't seen that yet, you'll see it this coming spring. The driving range looks 100% better with that bunker change. Bridges. I do not want to have to go through this again. So we put steel bridges in. So thanks to the Green and Grounds Committee and the other staff members, John Haynes, another call out, going out strong, huh? Yeah. So project was a big undertaking, and we tried to do it on a expedited timeline. And I am happy to say that all of the bridges that will look like that are complete, and we are good to go. We should have another 40 plus years of not having to deal with bridges. So hole 6, we opted to go with a land bridge. This was a tedious process with going through the Army Corps of Engineers to understand what we could and could not do. We got their approval, and we actually did less than what they approved. The original thought was to daylight the pipe closer to the walking bridge that was installed. That walking bridge will remain. We are not going to take that down, as it is a nice avenue for walkers without having to go all the way around. But it'll be a land bridge that you can just drive across. We will plant native grasses, as well as do landscaping work along the roads to create a little bit of a screen. All that work is anticipated to take place this spring once the snow melts. There is also, the cart path did get damaged during the construction of this, so we will have to address that as well. So just keep a lookout for announcements. Check in with the golf shop. We'll notify you if when that is available, but we may need to still use that walking bridge for the time being until we get that cart path fixed. And parking lot. So that is 100% completed. We gained a little bit of parking. We took out that island kind of right here to gain a few more parking spaces. There will be some maintenance that takes place with the coat seal to just maintain the integrity of the parking lot. So that'll take place on the entire parking lot this spring. But yeah, it feels good to have all these projects under our belt. That does not look familiar. Does that look familiar to anyone? So the before picture of the dining room and the after. You can tell it's a drastic difference. Thank you. And we now, it's amazing, just the tours that I was giving prior to Doug coming on after this got completed. Just the wow factor from a lot of people that were interested in membership and seeing this space for either the first time or maybe they saw it before and came and saw the renovation. So thank you for your patience, all your support with that project. I know it impacted many of us, but overall, I think it was 100% the right decision. And now I'll pass it back over to Graham for 2024.
Thanks, Mike. What an excellent 2023 in terms of getting those things accomplished. Really good news. 2024, just going to highlight a few items here. On the golf course itself, number 6 bridge, Mike just mentioned, we'll be finishing that off. Also, behind the cart path on number 4, I'm not sure if any of you have seen it, but some subsidence has happened in towards the end of last year, so we're going to be renovating that from a safety perspective. And also, as you come from 14 to 15, right now you drive back along the cart path, bothering those on the 14th tee, or they maybe hit you even, or close by. So we're going to take that cart path around from 14 to the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side of the back tee box. Give it a shot, see what happens, for the season. And we hope that's going to improve from a safety and aesthetics perspective and a privacy perspective. Also, we all know the new house, right? On the 15th, the green tee box is right by the boundary to that house. So we're going to be looking at moving that green tee box across the fairway, not yet decided where, again, from a privacy and safety perspective. Back to the clubhouse. We are looking at doing more work or doing some work on the driving range, especially the front end of the driving range. This will probably happen if we get the right designs towards the end of the season. But we want to improve the driving range. We've got ideas not just for the front of it, but the whole driving range area. And also, same concept for the main entrance. We like to have a wow factor in the main entrance as you come in. And so we're looking at plans with a couple of consultants about how we might change the front entrance to Park Meadows. A number of you will be very pleased to know that the electric pushcart storage is already in place. It's been made. Actually, we went over and had a look at it 3 or 4 days ago, and they're now just pulling everything together and putting the bags and changing the bag system and whatever. So be very pleased to get that done. And then 2 items that we will talk a little bit more later, but casual dining in particular, we want to add some more casual dining downstairs outside the pro shop. We mentioned this before in a couple of the letters that we sent out. Mike and his team are working on how do we staff that, what's the menu, and how does it work. But conceptually, it'll be come off the golf course, come out of the fitness room, bring your kids from baseball, come out of the swimming pool even. But conceptually, a much more casual area for dining. So the tables have arrived. I think the chairs are arriving pretty soon, so we'll see that. And then you know that we are looking at changing out the reservation system, which not only goes from point of sale terminal, but all the way through to the back office work. And so Mike will have a few slides on that later, but we are looking at starting that up in the middle of April, so pretty soon. So that was what were the main projects anyway for 2024. Looking at longer term plans, one thing we're working on right now is the golf simulator analysis. The golf committee is having a strong look at what's the right way to go from a simulator perspective, which could be both changing out our temporary solution from the dry box to a different solution, but also a longer range, more permanent solution. So stay tuned on that, more to come. Probably 2025, but we've had on our books for quite a long time to extend some of the cart paths and upgrade the paths. So I think in 2025, we'll be looking at a much bigger project to get that done. So that's sort of in our planning phase at the moment, or conceptualizing phase. The next two are much longer range, more 5 to 10 years. But we're working on the water system. You know, it was a bit dirty last year for a while, and we're trying to clean that up and got some good changes that we're working on there. But we need to think about longer range. If we replace sprinklers or replace pump house, that's a lot of money down the road. And we need to think about how we can plan to do that and finance that in 5 to 10 years' time. Coming back a little bit into the medium term, I'm going to hand over to Mike, and we're going to talk about what are we doing in the maintenance area, and hopefully one day, or if you haven't done already, you'll get a chance to go down there and look at it, because we know that we owe it to our maintenance staff to do a renovation of the whole maintenance area. Mike?
So the maintenance area project has been a part of the discussion for about 2 years now and had a focus last year. So just wanted to provide you, the membership, an update on kind of where we're at with this. So the overall purpose is additional storage for our equipment chemicals. We've shown photos of our equipment out there just covered in tarps, and it requires a lot of work in the spring to get that equipment back up and running the way it should be. We also want to upgrade our working conditions for our staff. There's a few photos in here that will demonstrate the conditions that John Haynes has turned that area into. Just kidding. Should see his house. And then just increase the efficiency of daily operations. So right now, the employees park kind of just scattered throughout the lot. So we have an employee parking section in the drawings that we're working with. And this will allow just deliveries to come and do a full U-turn and have full access. It'll also just give the staff the ability to drive equipment in and out without having to negotiate their vehicles. So improve the security and use. So it kind of ties into what I just discussed. But we are anticipating having a brand new building that will host the staff, and then we'll be able to have the equipment in the existing building under lock and key. And then just enhance the overall aesthetic of the space, the fencing, and the landscaping. So that's important not only to us as players and members and guests, but it also is important to our neighbors. So to kind of give a look of, so there you can see the employee cars. It's really not an efficient use of the space, but John's done a great job of working with what we have. Who wants to sign up to work with John? So to highlight kind of where we're at and how we've maintained momentum in getting this project forward. So first and foremost, we held discussions with our neighbors that have sight lines of the maintenance center. So they were all in favor for us. So I mean, we'll have a berm built up that will heighten the fence and hiding the equipment more so, and then we'll also have a full landscape plan as well. So we had an initial meeting as a work session with the Park City Planning Commission. It was well received, and we're currently working with the Planning Commission to seek approval for our CUP. So those discussions are kind of ongoing with the Park City municipal staff, and we anticipate wrapping things up and getting our CUP somewhere towards the end of April. And then once we have our CUP, then we can go into costing and then determine the total cost out of the overall construction. So I'm gonna go back to one slide right here, just to give everyone kind of idea of what we're looking at. So we're looking at full landscaping around the entire perimeter. We'll have to bump out the fence a little bit, and then the new building will be on this side of the lot. There will be additional bins here for material. We'll be able to get rid of these 3 units. Parking will be on this side, and then we won't have any equipment that's housed outside. Everything will be inside. So just give everyone just kind of a high-level overview of what our thoughts are. Yeah, so hole number 1 is here. Hole number 18 is here. Yes. Yep, correct. Lots and lots. All right, so I'm going to pass it on to Steve to talk about golf.
All right. Thanks, Mike. We're getting the details right, so I'm not going to wing this like I did last year. I have notes. But let's talk about new staff. So before we get to actual new staff, I think it's important to recognize Nick Owen, who's recently promoted to Director of Golf. He's back there in the corner. I can tell you firsthand, working with him over the last few months, it's been phenomenal. It's been a breath of fresh air, so excited for Nick. And with that, we have 2 new staff members to announce. Callie Quick, she is not here tonight, but if you haven't met her, you definitely should. She brings 15 years of experience, and she, I think, was the first female head pro in Idaho in 2010, and then the first female head pro in Wyoming in 2014. So again, a huge upgrade for our Director of Player Development, Callie Quick. And then next is Carson Willis. So Carson joins us from the dark side over at Glenwild. But no, Carson has an amazing history as well. He's worked at clubs like Bandon Dunes, Maroon Creek in Aspen, Glenwild, and Johns Island in Florida. And then we still have our amazing staff returning with Evan, who will lead our junior golf as well as club fitting. And then Evan, John, and Andrew. So we have a rock star crew for golf. Give it up to them. So let's talk a little bit about golf events this season. We're going to kick it off again with the Icebreaker. We've moved it back a week, so now it will be June 15th, Saturday, and that's going to be a theme. So we've now changed all golf events to end on Saturdays. Why? Because who wants to celebrate on Sunday? So with that, we also have 4 9 and 9 scheduled, 1 for each summer month. 2 of them are themed. One will be a Caddyshack theme. The other one will be a college alumni or sports theme. So wear your favorite college jersey or for that one. And then moving on, let's see. Oh, let's talk about the tournaments. Just briefly, the tournaments, again, will end on Saturday. With the roundup, while this is not a golf thing, it's recommended by the golf committee to move the party back to Saturday night. So we will have the old roundup party back, Western themed. And then just a brief update on the Kemosabe. We had 99 people enter the lottery, meaning we have roughly 24, 23 on the wait list. But just like last year, we'll do everything we can to get everyone in. I believe everyone had an opportunity to enter last year, some very late in the game, but still had an opportunity to get in. So again, full field, and we're excited for that event. Let's see, moving on. Sorry. So junior golf and golf clinics. There is a ton of programming, so pardon me for having to read a lot of this off, but Callie has prepared an incredible lineup, and she's done it based on like ski slope ratings. So there's a bunny slope, there's green, blue, black, to kind of show you where you should go. I don't know how that equates to handicaps, but we'll figure that out. So here's just an example of a few of the programs. There's Game On, which is a ladies skill scramble. That's Bunny Hill Green. There's Ladies Links, a progressive clinic series. There's men's early season clinics. Again, that's all levels. There's Wind Up, that's WINE''D, golf clinic, which is focused on skills and socializing. It's open to men and women and all levels. Then there's a golf school, a 2-day comprehensive golf school open to men and women. And then there's a ladies golf camp, which is at twilight with the gals. I don't see that for the men. And then lastly, there's a member clinic, which is every week with a new topic, all levels. And then something really cool that I'd never heard of, it's called Operation 36, which is basically the goal is to get you to shoot 36 and basically par on 9 holes. But starting like you move back, so you start close to the green, and then once you can play 9 holes and par close to the green, you keep moving back until you actually can do that from your tees, ideally. Let's see. Last thing, not last thing, but junior golf. So huge emphasis on junior golf. Evan, like I said, will be leading that program. There will be 3 junior golf weeks. June 17th to June 22nd, July 15th to July 19th, and August 5th to August 9th. And then age-based clinics, 3 to 4 clinics per division per summer month. There'll be a 5 to 8-year-old division, a 9 to 12-year-old division, and a 13 to 18-year-old division. And this year, we're going to work to create a junior club championship to coincide with the actual club championship. So that's huge. And then junior golfers that are approved through the pro shop can now play the course unaccompanied, and they can also bring a friend if that friend is also approved. And last, just the golf book has been updated with tenets. I will not read them, but I full credit to David Gonzalez. Please check out the golf book. It's under the tab Golf and Instruction, and then you'll see the golf book. It's on page 8. Please check out the tenets. They're great at, really for new members, giving you an idea of the golf culture here. And last but not least, a plug to the PMLA. If you're a new member and you're here today and you're a female, please go see Tracy or Aaron after to sign up for the PMLA. With that, I'll turn it back over to Mike.
All right. You guys sick of me yet? Can I please have all the staff members that are here? John, can you bring everyone up here along the fireplace, please? So going through, we'll cover a lot of stuff here, but first and foremost, I want to take a moment to recognize the heartbeat of Park Meadows Country Club and all of our dedicated staff members. So each and every one of them plays a vital role in shaping the fabric and culture of what we call PMCC and the family members that you see in this room. So over the past year, we've witnessed some challenges both here at the club, or some changes both here at the club and the world around us. But with changes come challenges, but with that comes opportunities for growth and inspiration. And the people that you see here, it's been a pleasure to witness the unwavering dedication and commitment of what they've done to provide you with a better overall experience. It's inspiration, comes to the word, is the word that comes to mind. I could not do what I do without these people and their teams. So I want to wholeheartedly thank everyone that makes PMCC great from a staff perspective right now, and please give a round of applause to this wonderful team. So I'll just go down the lineup just so you can put a face to a name. Nick Owen. I don't have your walkout song, sorry. Director of Golf, come on out. Doug Lavasser, Director of Membership Marketing and Communications. Chris Swampy. It's actually Chris LaRouge, but we know him as Swampy. Big shout out to Marielle Sherman, our events coordinator. DJ Heller, our F&B director. Michael Simons, communications, baby. We're gonna do John Haynes last. John Stabler. Jonathan Dunker. And I have a few puns here. So there's a hammock waiting for him somewhere, but he chose us over his hammock on a beach. So thank you, John. And he's retiring off to a life as smooth as the greens you putt on. So big shout out to John Haynes, please. So as we move forward, just thank you for your continued support. I say it in my monthly Meadows message almost religiously, but this place would not be what it is without your participation and your support of everything that we're doing. So a big shout out and thank you to you as well. So yes, exactly. Raise it up. Golf course status. So ultimately, Mother Nature, she has the final call to when we're going to get the golf course opened. But we do anticipate minor damage compared to last year, which should allow us to get the golf course opened around the normal time. So we're looking somewhere around the May 15th to May 25th timeline on that. You're still working here, John, at that point, so the pressure's on. The great news for you as a membership is that there are no major capital projects anticipated for the golf course. So you will get a full year of uninterrupted play for the 2024 season. Although John's retiring, and it's bittersweet, we are very excited to have Ben Timmons, who's coming on board with us on April 15th. So Ben comes to us with about 2 decades of experience in Park City. He is coming from a 10-year tenure at Jeremy Ranch. And he did amazing things for that property and that golf course in his time there. Prior to Jeremy Ranch, he was the superintendent under a director of agronomy at Glenwild. So he has a very strong pedigree, and I fully anticipate that we may have another superintendent that does 20 or so years here at the club. So like I said, he'll start April 15th, giving him about 45 days to spend with John, and then they'll do the transition from there. So going on to the ski club and Nordic track. So big shout out, Chris Opdyke. Where's your green vest? Where are you at? But there he is. So Chris has taken charge and leadership of the PMCC ski program as the ski meister. With his help, we've been able to organize successful communications, the ski destinations, and the lunches. The every other week at Chenna has proved to be successful. We've had, I think, no less than 20 or so members attend lunch each week that we hosted there. Separate from the PMCC ski activity, every year I host 3 cat trips with Park City Powder Cats. Each one has been successful in its own way. We have a lot of fun. It is a very safe environment, but if you have any interest, I will communicate dates in November of this year, giving everyone a little bit more time to put it on your calendar and schedule that accordingly. The Nordic track, we experienced really good conditions once we got it open. It was a little bit of a late start. But the investment in the Yellowstone groomer and the Razor proved to be a success, as, I mean, it's being used on almost a daily basis. New this year, we did widen the track pretty significantly, just giving more space for your activity of choice. That's been well received. And then next year, we anticipate kind of status quo as it was this year, but with the introduction of Callie Quick, who's a certified skate ski and Nordic instructor, she'll be here full time at that point. Well, she's starting full time April 15th, but she'll have her first full winter here, and she will host clinics and also be available for private instruction if it's something that you would like to try out and become more familiar with. So moving on to F&B. So vibrancy, that was the word that came to mind when thinking about the F&B department. So the F&B department had its best year ever in 2023. So sales outpaced 2022 by 19% and covers by 12%. So what we're seeing is just overall usage is going up, telling us that we are doing something right and people are choosing Park Meadows over other restaurants in Park City. And then, as Graham said, the 2023 was just a 40th anniversary party altogether, with Marielle at the helm of our events. So this is every event that had some sort of F&B component. We had a total of 153 events. That's about one every other day. And with a total number of participants being north of 8,000. So a lot of good things happening in the F&B side of things. And it's just a big thank you to the front of house and the back of house as well. That, I mean, you rarely get to see all the hard work that goes on at the back of house, but a big shout out to Chef Alex and his team. So now looking forward, so we do have details to iron out, but I'm going to give you a high-level view of the new activations that we are going to start in 2024 in and around the golf season. So the club has purchased an espresso machine. So we will have a specialty coffee option that will be available in the morning. And then after dinner coffee, cocktails, or just a coffee to have after your meal. With that, we are also going to have a continental breakfast that will be set up in the bar area around the espresso machine. So this will be set up on a daily basis and will be free of charge. Figured I'd get an applause. So, and then we will also have a limited grab and go hot item breakfast that you can get before you head out on the golf course. All of the hours and menus will be communicated to you prior to the launch of this. But just want to let you know that your feedback is being taken seriously, and our team is working hard to try to figure out the best possible solutions that work within our operation. Graham touched on it a little bit earlier, but we are invested in a casual dining area. So this will be on the patio outside of the golf shop. So we are adding 36 total seats, and the intent behind this is for this to be a family-friendly, just casual spot where you can just come and unwind. So we have several great social events planned for 2024, and Graham beat me to it, but by popular demand, we are going to do it won't be as big as the 40th anniversary, but we are doing a big summer bash. So if you want to put it in your calendars, it will be on July 20th, the same weekend that it was last year, and hope to see all your smiling faces there. That might require some additional financing. I heard that too. All right, Brezovics are writing the check. Let's roll. Sorry, let me go back. Okay, so pool. So if we had to identify a weak spot last year operationally, it was the pool and turn house. So we have identified that, and we are working on a plan to improve the service and attentiveness of the pool staff. We will try to get the pool open no later than Friday, May 24th. If we can get it open earlier, then we will. But once again, we're at the helm of Mother Nature. And Lisa Fowler Gutierrez from the Swim School for All, she plans on coming back. As soon as I get her schedule, we'll send a communication out so that you can start booking your private and group swim lessons. Pickleball, the fastest growing sport in the world, taking over one wiffle ball at a time. So as weather allows, once again, we'll get the pickleball courts opened once it's safe, and I mean they are on the north side of the building, so it does take a little bit more time to melt. But we'll announce when they're going to open and when reservations will be available. Greg Litsky, who's our pickleball instructor, he will be coming back this year, which is he's a great asset for us to have. He does private instruction, group clinics, and helps manage the open play. In conjunction, member Tom Bursick will be leading the open play days. And then we are looking at purchasing a pickleball machine. So that you'll be able to rent that so you can practice your dinks, volleys, and lobs. I learned so much about pickleball over the last 20 minutes. So looking at the fitness center, so the new equipment has been well received. We have addressed the issues with temporary solutions on the entertainment consoles. There is a full update scheduled to go into place in sometime around June. Once that update goes into place, you won't have to use the remotes anymore. And there will also be enhanced workout features for you as well. So casual dining, we've already covered. And so plugged in and communications. So first I'll start with plugged in. So valuable tool that was implemented here at Park Meadows Country Club. And highly encourage everyone that comes in and wants to submit some sort of feedback to me and the executive committee. We take those seriously and try to give a response within a 72-hour time frame. Just for a little data, we had 192 plugged-in messages that were received and responded to last year. If I had to narrow it down, I'd say about 50% of those were on ways that we could improve. Another 40% were just a kudos to the staff and events, and the other 10% just being regular just comments or views of how things are going. So communications, big shout out to Michael Simons. Get out from back there. So thank you for all the work that you've done in putting our communications on the map here for both the club and the membership. So as you can see, well, can't see anymore. So we've developed clear channels of communication. So we've always had club news, but I feel that the content in club news is more relatable and more valuable. We've instituted golf updates. We have the targeted opt-in groups, emails that go out. And the message that we're trying to give is a consistent, unified tone through each one of these outlets. And then we also introduced the Meadows Monthly Bulletin in June 2023. So the goal here is to send this out, give you plenty of notice to plan for the next month. As you can see, the data kind of tells us what we're looking for. So in 2021, we had a 71% open rate out of 143 emails sent. There's a fine line between too many emails and click rates. You send too many emails, people get tired of them, they don't open them. But if the content's good and you're sending what people are looking for, then you get what we had this year. So 85% click rate and an additional, 27 emails sent out. So continue to utilize the communications that are sent via email, and you can also utilize the club calendar as a way to plan out your activities here at the club. So quick membership update. So golf members, we have 329. Legacy golf members, we have a total of 5, which is the cap. Social members, we're at 106. And Centurion members, we have 2. The current market-based pricing for golf is between $200,000 and $215,000. And social is at $105,000. So Graham touched on it in his welcome message. So we want to just pull some data to show how valuable the Chateau amenity is for our club. So the annual lockers and parking passes that are purchased, we started with 25. That was in 2019, the number was 25. We've now increased that to 45. And we also have an additional 32 lockers and parking passes through Ski and See. Then the reserve daily parking passes. So these are the parking passes that you reserve on a daily basis that we don't pay for those. Those are granted to us per our agreement with the Chateau. But as you can see, so winter 22-23, we had 123 unique memberships. So when I say unique memberships, that's inclusive of a husband and wife that may book on the same membership. So this isn't unique users. And a total of just north of 1,500 total reservations throughout the year. So I mean that's pretty much at capacity each day that they're available. And then winter 23-24, we still have how many days left, Chris? You would know. 21. All right, let's put it there. But we have 119 unique memberships and almost 1,100 total reservations. So we just wanted to share this data with you as a membership to let you know that this isn't specific to any group of people, that this is a club-wide amenity that is being used. All right, brace for it. There's been a lot of work over the last 4 months behind the scenes that the staff has been working on to bring you, the member, a better experience with the app and website. So we've partnered with a new company that's in the software scene named Cobalt. So their whole tagline is the next generation of club management software for the next generation of member experience. So we realize that this is a significant change. However, we are confident that this all-in-one solution will provide you an easier way to navigate everything Park Meadows. So unlocking the PMCC member experience. So the app and website. Right now, the app and website look completely different and operate completely different. So the app and website work hand in hand with Cobalt. So the same experience you get on the website, you will get on the app. There, you won't have to remember 2 different ways of how to go about making a reservation or checking your reservations, canceling a reservation. It'll all be the same across each platform. Another benefit for you is the calendar filtering. So on your calendar, there will be a golf icon, pickleball icon, social event icon. If you're just interested in what social events are going on in a specific month, you can click the social event icon and it'll just show you the social events. So there's no more getting lost in a very busy calendar. You can identify the events and tournaments that you're directly interested in. The lesson booking platform. So previously you've had to call to book a lesson or use a third-party app to book a lesson. Cobalt offers a full lesson booking platform, so you can book your pickleball, your golf instruction, any lesson that is offered here by the staff at Park Meadows. You'll be able to do that directly through the Cobalt app or website. So simplified and improved reservation systems. So Graham kind of touched on this as well. So the way that Cobalt works is, like I said, it's an all-in-one system. So right now you make a reservation, we then have to import that into OpenTable, and I mean, through transition, things get lost. So now you can make a reservation, you can identify where you'd like to sit. You can, if you have a table number, you can input that. If you have a request there, you can input that, or there will be drop downs that will all tie directly to your reservation. The overall look and feel, we've been playing with it a little bit over the last couple days, is a completely different and enhanced experience than what we're currently operating on. The member cards and guest cards. So everyone will have to upload a photo of themselves to access their member card, and guests who may be unaccompanied or with you, they will also have to take a photo. They can use their iPhone, take a photo, so that we can better track and identify who has the access to Park Meadows Country Club and its facilities. So for example, the pool, the pool is probably our nemesis when it comes to this. So there will be a digital card that you just tap a button on the app and you can scan your card. It'll notify whoever the attendant is of you just checked in, and all your guests will have to go through the same process. If you don't have a picture and you don't have a member card or a guest card, you will not be admitted to our facility. Thank you, Opdyke. So like I said, it's going to be a change, but it is very user friendly. I don't think that it will be a huge change. I think everyone will enjoy the change. And if you are struggling with the app or website, we have our staff here to help you transition into that. And then we will be doing, when the majority of the membership is here kind of early season, we plan to have a Cobalt representative here, and we'll do an appy hour where we'll do hors d'oeuvres, drinks on member account, but you can come and directly speak to one of the staff members or a Cobalt representative directly to get more familiar with it. So timeline of launch. We will be ready to take off with this on April 8th. So just a few weeks away. So that means for you'll receive an email from the club the morning of April 8th with detailed instructions of what you need to do to gain access to the new website and app. The club URL will remain the same. So it's still parkmeadowscc.com, and the club app will still remain Park Meadows CC. All right, so your action plan when this goes into play. So follow instructions that you receive via email. Michael Simons and I have gone over them in detail, and they are easy to follow. You will delete the current app that you have on your phone, and then you'll just do a simple Google Store or Apple Store search for the Park Meadows CC. You'll reload that onto your phone. Your member number is your username for both the primary and secondary member. So primary doesn't have a dash, secondary member does have it's a -1. So everyone will need to do this. You will get a prompt to reset your password, and then you're off to the races to enjoy your new app. So, but please, if you have any questions or have any difficulties, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Michael Simons. We're happy to help. And if we don't have an answer to something for some reason, we will get one for you. And I will pass it along to Debbie.
Good evening. I am pretty sure that we saved the best information for last because it's time for the financial report. And I want to know what strings that Steve pulled to get so early in the program. All right. This report is going to be done in 3 sections. I'm going to give a look back at 2023. I'm going to give you a brief update on 2024 and what to expect. And then I'm going to spend just a few moments giving you a few observations about financial sustainability, same thing, and where we are on that. When I was working, I used to have bifocals. Now I just play golf, so I don't have bifocals anymore. So I have to take off my glasses to read the notes. Okay, about 3 weeks ago, we posted a written report to the website. And in that written report, it covers all 3 of the same topics, but in a lot more detail than I'm going to go into here. So if you'd like to dig a little bit deeper, I encourage you to take a look at that report as a starting point to get some more detailed information. Let's start right away with the 2023 look back. At the highest level, it was a solid year with several what I would call manageable challenges. So how did we do versus the 2023 operating budget? A key metric that I look at is the net income before depreciation, because that is also a really good proxy for cash flows generated by operations. And those cash flows are really important to us because those cash flows support our funding of debt principal repayments, and also are a source of our capital funding. In 2023, our cash flows from operations were about $620,000, and that was about $100,000 under our budget. There are a lot of offsetting, very minor variances, but I'd just like to highlight a couple of the more significant variances of particular interest. On the revenue side, and on the upside, interest income. We had interest income of about $150,000 last year, and that was about $70,000 over budget. We benefited from the higher interest rate environment and our balances in our cash and investment accounts. Going the other direction, on the expense side, there's two variances I'd like to mention. One was the increased maintenance costs. With a severe winter last year, we ended up having more maintenance on both the golf course and the rest of our facilities than we budgeted for. And also, still kind of trying to figure out this whole inflation things. There were 3 operating cost areas that had higher than expected inflation, and those were natural gas, insurance, and property taxes. Okay, capital activity. I'm going to start the capital activity by just briefly talking about membership transfer and sales activity. And that's in capital because we have earmarked those funds as a source for our capital expenditures. The club's portion of membership transfer and sales revenue this last year was $650,000, and that was about $250,000 under budget. You will remember that this last year really slowed down during the year in terms of membership transfers. However, I am encouraged by the activity we saw towards the end of the year and is continuing into this year, and I'll comment on that in a minute when we look at 2024. On the capital expenditure side, we've provided a lot of information on that already, but the numbers side of it is we spent about $2.3 million in capital expenditures. That's a big year for us in terms of capital expenditures. Largely, those funds were spent on replacement and refurbishment projects. We talked about the 3 major projects: bunkers, the parking lot repaving, and the clubhouse main floor renovation. And we also had the unplanned expenditures for the 3 bridges, which we've also talked about. But I'm happy to report that we're able to reprioritize and carefully manage some of our projects such that we came right on budget in terms of our capital expenditures for the year, which was kind of a little bit of a miracle when you think about those 3 bridges and some of the uncertainties that were involved there. I'll wrap up 2023 by just talking about the balance sheet for a minute. And particularly, I'd like to talk about cash and investments and debt. The cash and investments at year-end were about $3.3 million, and that was a decrease of about $1.4 million from the prior year-end. But that was consistent with plan, and that, again, that is largely attributable to our significant capital expenditures during the year. We allocate our cash and investments into 3 buckets, and those buckets are based on how we intend to use the funds. They're the general funds, the capital replacement reserve, and the debt repayment fund. First, talking about the capital replacement reserve for a minute. Several years ago, the board established the capital replacement reserve as a mechanism for accumulating funds over time to cover major capital expenditures, refurbishment and replacement expenditures. At the beginning of the year, that capital replacement reserve had $1.7 million in it. We added $840,000 during the year, and after we spent all that money on those 3 projects we talked about, plus the bridges, we ended up with a balance of $600,000 at the end of the year in there. Moving on to debt, we have 1 loan outstanding with Zions Bank, and that loan relates back to the rebuild of the clubhouse and the pool about 7 or 8 years ago. The scheduled principal balance payments on that loan are just under $400,000 annually. And the balance on the note at year-end was $6.2 million. Also, several years ago, the board established a debt repayment fund. And that fund is intended to set aside funds for debt repayment above the amounts of the scheduled principal payments. During 2023, $240,000 was added to the debt repayment fund. And at the end of the year, the balance in the debt repayment fund was $816,000. We monitor a metric here that we call net debt. And what that is the balance on the loan, the principal balance on the loan, minus the balance in the debt repayment fund. And at year end, our net debt balance was $5.4 million, and that's a reduction of about $600,000 from the prior year end. All right, enough for last year. Now moving on to next year, or this year. I call it next year, but this year. As you know, our 2024 operating budget reflects a monthly dues increase to $1,500 monthly for golf memberships and $750 for social memberships. The primary drivers to that were continuing to address the impacts of inflation and also the priorities placed on our initiatives to improve the breadth, quality, and consistency of the member dining experience. We do budget or project that the cash generated by operations, it will be $800,000 for the year. We have been very modest in our budgeting of membership transfer and sales revenue, because we weren't exactly sure what to expect. We budgeted $384,000. I'm reasonably confident that we will exceed that budget amount based on the activity we've seen year to date. The capital expenditures are, again, modestly budgeted, as was referred to earlier, at $770,000, with several smaller projects that Mike reviewed for us earlier. It should be noted that the 2024 capital budget does not include any amounts for the maintenance facility beyond just some planning and feasibility work which is underway, and so that is not in the current budget. Okay, and now to financial sustainability. As Graham mentioned way back at the beginning of this presentation, financial stability is one of the 6 objectives in our strategic plan. And as a finance person, I'm really excited to see it listed first. They made me talk last, but at least their objective is listed first. It is a topic about which I am both passionate and optimistic. I think we are at an ideal time in Park Meadows' evolution and trajectory to make significant strides to further solidify the club's financial future. And it's important to understand that financial sustainability is a journey. It's not a one and done project. So how do we move the needle on financial sustainability? We do it by thinking longer range and planning longer range, both in terms of what we want to do, what our vision is, and where the funding for that is going to come from. Let me just give you a couple quick examples of how that might work. That includes modeling and understanding how decisions we make in setting our current annual operating and capital budgets affect the operating and capital budgets 5, 10, and maybe even longer years down the road. Also, with the establishment of the Capital Replacement Reserve in 21, a big step was made in putting a mechanism in place to accumulate funds and over time for these major capital expenditures. But there's still work to be done. We need to develop and maintain a robust long-range capital expenditure plan. That will more accurately help us predict what capital expenditures we need to make when, and then the next step is, and that will help us determine what kind of funds we need to accumulate to be able to fund those in a timely manner. We are making good progress on a financial sustainability journey, and I look forward to continuing to aggressively pursue that passion of mine. In closing, I would like to do one final shout out to John Stabler, wherever he ended up. Oh, there he is, hiding behind Graham over here. John is often quiet behind the scenes, but he is just really the mastermind behind the financial stuff and just does a tremendous amount of work on behalf of this club, getting all the financials together. And John does share my passion for this financial sustainability. All right. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have during the Q&A session, which I think comes next.
Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Debbie. I think just from this evening and from what you know already, you realize we have a fabulous group of volunteer folks here who are helping to look after Park Meadows Country Club now and for the future. So thank you to all of them. And we are going to now Mike and I will take some Q&As. We do actually have a mic for anybody who'd like to ask a question, so that that will make it easier for everybody to understand what's happening. It's Lee down. Lee? Oh, yeah, please, Lee, because it makes it much easier for everybody.
I'm just curious, what did the bridges cost, and did these come out of capital, or did insurance cover any part of those?
Okay. The bridges cost what, in the order of $400,000+. We tried to get some insurance money for that, but have not been successful in doing so. But they do look great, and when we come up to finish the one on number 6, I think that you'll enjoy that too. Okay, the question related to the food and beverage. I think Keith had been looking at the detailed financials, and every year we actually use F&B as an amenity, so we do lose money, and that's what our dues partly pay for. But let me get Debbie up and answer the question.
Yeah, I think when I came onto the board and came onto the finance position, I kind of had the same question you did in trying to better understand this. I've spent a lot of time over the past year and a little bit more looking at benchmarking information that's provided by an organization that we work with called Club Benchmarking. And food and beverage you need to think of that not as a profit center, but as an amenity. Just like the golf course is an amenity, like the pool is an amenity. These things all have some revenue streams, but the revenue streams do not cover and will not cover the cost of the amenities. What's most interesting is there's some benchmarking work that's done that takes a look at the loss from food and beverage, if you will, as a relationship to dues, as relationship to lots of different things, but we'll say in relationship to dues. And the better clubs have a more highly subsidized food and beverage because it's viewed as an amenity, not as a profit center. So, and I'd be happy separately to share some of that benchmarking information with you, but it really was very interesting to kind of get a better handle on the country club business versus the restaurant business and how that fits together.
Every member to cover the loss.
Yep, and we are
That's
right.
a pretty substantial subsidy.
Apps.
Maybe we should look at raising prices and forcing better quality because people will then go.
Yeah, it's certainly something that we look at, but I will tell you from where we fit and where we benchmark and where we stand, we are right in what I would call the sweet spot for the losses. And the finance committee actually has a little project this year at looking at the F&B and kind of challenging and understanding us versus the benchmarking we've done and versus just some of the thoughts like what you have. But I really think the thought of trying to get the quality where you want it and what we charge for it are almost two things, are almost two separate thoughts. It's a matter of how much do we want to subsidize as an amenity. And I wouldn't even call it subsidized. It's really how much do we want to pay for that amenity.
Thanks, Keith. It's a very interesting debate, and one which, since I've been here, we've had at least 3 or 4 times. As to where to set it. Be our country club, we don't want to be paying prices that Main Street's paying. On the other hand, we want high quality food. So it's a balance that we need to make, and how do we pay for that in prices or in our annual dues. But it's a good topic.
I just want to add a comment that my husband and I both thought the quality, not only in the service, but also the food, has dramatically improved over 2023. So kudos to all of you.
Kudos to Mike, to DJ, to Chef. I think we would agree with that. Katie over here. Michael.
Have talked about? Oh, I don't do well with the microphone. Hello. My question relates to the casual dining space. And I'm curious, because my understanding is that would be seasonal if it's going to be outside of the pro shop. So how would that be any different than what we have at the Poolside Cafe? And how will that be served? And where will the food come from?
So we're trying to identify menu options, and whether that comes from the turnhouse or upstairs. There's a lot of logistical items that need to be figured out with regard to that space. The overall outcome could be just an overall enhancement of the turnhouse menu. And then specific items that are served at the Poolside Cafe and the casual dining atmosphere. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna have something to say.
Come on, guys, hang on, please. Just 1 minute. Can you just hold on a minute, please, folks? I'd like to just reiterate a couple of things. Firstly, the staff and the board are here to answer questions and discuss any items that you'd like to do more on a private basis, so we're very happy with that. But most important, I think, to come back to the whole fact of we are honored and we really enjoy Park Meadows Country Club. We have phenomenal staff, and our whole objective is to use that staff in the best way possible, get the best people here, do the best pricing, and make sure that you, the members, have the best time that you can, so you'll bring other folks here and really enjoy it. So thank you so much, and Diane, for your time. Thank you.